Dead, alive, and extinct. It sounds pretty intuitive until you get to the extinct part. Dead and alive makes sense, but what's the deal with extinct? Isn't it the same as dead? It's actually not. Alive languages have native speakers and are used in day-to-day life. This would include English, Mandarin, Arabic, things like that. If you use your language to talk to your family, friends, go to the store, then the language is alive. Dead languages have no native speakers, so they aren't used in regular conversations, but are still used in certain religious contexts or writing. These include Latin, Sanskrit, Coptic, Church Slavonic. You're probably not gonna use Church Slavonic to order a pizza. And extinct languages are dead languages that have no native speakers and are not used in other contexts either, so they have no use in 2025 basically. This means that all extinct languages are dead languages, but not all dead languages are extinct languages. Having explained this, let's now talk about the process through which languages change, die, go extinct, or get reborn. Language death, extinction, dormancy, and revival. Language death is the process through which a language that's used by a group of people in everyday communication gradually loses its status and only remains used in special ceremonial occasions. There are two notable ways this can happen. The first example is the Coptic language. After Arabic-speaking people conquered Egypt from the Byzantines, the Coptic language was still the native language of all Egyptians, but gradually its status started getting eroded, and Egyptians adopted Arabic as the lingua franca of the Eastern Mediterranean. Coptic became the liturgical language of the Coptic Church. This is the first way that a language can die, by being replaced by another language. The second way is seen in the case of Latin and Church Slavonic. Here, the people did not adopt a different or foreign language. The language itself just diverged and evolved into new forms that stopped being mutually intelligible. But the origin point of the divergence became preserved through the liturgical languages of Latin and Church Slavonic. So Latin and Church Slavonic are just older versions of French, Spanish, Russian, Polish. Language extinction is basically the same as language death, only in this case the language doesn't continue to be used for ceremonial purposes, it just ceases to be learned or taught or used by anyone for any purpose other than scientific research. The process by which this happens is the same as language death, either through adopting a new language or by languages evolving and diverging into new dialects that aren't mutually intelligible anymore. Examples include the Celtic languages that were widespread throughout Europe before Romans conquered their people, and the Celts started speaking Latin, and then some of those Latin-speaking Celts were again conquered and started speaking Germanic languages. Only small remnants of Celtic-speaking populations remain today. The other example is Proto-Indo-European, the ancestor language of Slavic, Iranian, Germanic, and many other languages. All these languages came from that same source and through thousands of years diverged until the original version of the language became completely forgotten. Language dormancy is a stage in the life cycle of a language where it stops being used as a native language but is still used by a group of people for cultural and symbolic reasons. This stage is usually followed by a push for revitalization and rebirth into once again becoming a living language that has native speakers and widespread use in an area. An example of this is Manx, which went extinct but was successfully revived with a growing number of second language speakers and is considered the official language of the Isle of Man. Language revival is the process of turning a dormant language into a healthy, living and breathing language. The most notable case of this is Hebrew, which went from having 0 native speakers and being used only for liturgical and literary purposes to becoming the official language of a sovereign nation. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a nice day. Goodbye.